Part 159. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1581. Zhao's Haijing very wisely contributed Taiji swordsmanship to his master Quan Zhen section. Ma Yu and others believed that the one who taught Zhao's Haijing swordsmanship in the dream should be his master Wang Chongyang. After all, the history of Quan Zhen sect is too short. Among the second generation of Quan Zhen's 7 sons, only one eldest son Tan Chujuan died. Apart from Wang Chongyang, no one else could have given Zhao's Haijing a dream. As for other Taoist predecessors, such as Laozi and Zhuangzi, Quan Zhen sect did not dare to climb that high branch. Because if it were these two, what they passed down should be Taoism, not martial arts. In order to reward Zhao's Haijing's contribution, all the martial arts secrets of Quan Zhen sect were open to Zhao's Haijing without restrictions. Moreover, basically, he had been designated as the next headmaster. Opening martial arts secrets was just a saying. Wang Kongyang's more powerful Xian Tiangong and Nine Yin manual were not passed on to Quan Zhen sect. And Zhao's Haijing had basically mastered other martial arts in the section. The 7 Quan Zhen disciples felt that this was far from enough to reward Zhao's Haijing, so they said that they would appoint the next headmaster. Little did they know that Zhao's Haijing was a fake. Xiaoming didn't know any other Quan Zhen martial arts except Quan Zhen swordsmanship, so this solved his urgent problem. Wang Chongyang was very skilled in martial arts and had dabbled in various martial arts. Quan Zhen was known for its internal strength, swordsmanship, and Tiangangbai deformation. But it also had other light skills, fists, weapons, and palms. In terms of the level of these martial arts, although they were not as good as the 72 unique skills of Shaolin Temple, they were much better than the original martial arts of the 7 freaks of Jiangnan. Xiaoming practiced them all, by the way, not asking for proficiency, as long as he mastered them. He could use them to deal with some ordinary battles in the future to avoid being exposed. In short, before Zhang Xiaoming was captured by the prehistoric forces on the Rainbow Bridge on December 7, he had mastered all the Quan Zhen martial arts. He also learned the Jade Girl Suksen swordsmanship, by the way. What? Did he also learn the Jade Maiden sword technique? Didn't Zhao's Haijing always stay with Yangguo? How did he get the Jade Maiden sword technique? In fact, the first people to learn the Jade Maiden sword technique were Xiaoming's followers and disciples, Li Wengziu and Shui Sheng. The whole story is like this. Xiaoming replaced Zhao's Haijing to enter the secret realm of the Return of the Condor heroes and brought 4 followers into the secret realm. They are Mu Nianzi, Zhang Ning'er, Li Wengziu, and Shui Sheng. Mu Nianzi and Zhang Ning'er have been living in a small town at the foot of Mount Zongnan, waiting for a good opportunity. Zhao's Haijing took Yangguo down the mountain to accidentally meet them. It is estimated that Yangguo will definitely be attracted by this young version of Mu Nianzi, and just take Mu Nianzi and Zhang Ning'er into Chongyang Palace. It can be regarded as completely tying up Yangguo's mind. Unfortunately, until December 7, there was no suitable opportunity. But it is estimated that there is no need to wait for a long time. Li Wengziu and Shui Sheng sneaked into the tomb section. The 2 of them were in special situations. They both had lovers, but their lovers were already living happily with other women forever. They were unwilling to destroy other people's families, nor did they want to find another one. This mentality was very suitable for the tomb sect. But the tomb sect was relatively closed, and Xiao Longnu did not open the mountain gate to recruit disciples, so it was not so easy to join. Therefore, Huang Rong, who could not enter the secret realm, arranged many strategies for them in advance, and finally let the 2 successfully join the tomb sect. This matter was not difficult. Now there were only Granny Sun and Xiao Longnu in the ancient tomb, and neither of them had high IQ and EQ. As long as you find a way, it is not difficult to deceive them. Li Wengziu and Shui Sheng were kind-hearted and disdained to deceive people. Huang Rong used the tragic story of Granny Sun and Xiao Longnu to impress them. Granny Sun was old, and even if she did not die in the plot, she would probably die of old age in a few years. The only thing that the old lady was worried about was the innocent and naive Xiao Longnu. Xiao Longnu's senior sister, the red snake fairy Li Ma Chu, might return to the ancient tomb to snatch the inheritance at any time. In the original novel, Xiao Longnu escaped only with the help of Yang. In this life, Yang will not join the ancient tomb sect again, so even if Grandma Sun does not die, he and Xiao Longnu will probably not be Li Ma Chu's opponent. At that time, they can only put down the broken dragon stone and die with Li Ma Chu. This is too cruel for Xiao Longnu. Li Wengzhou and Shui Sheng, who have heard Xiao Ming's story about Xiao Longnu's future experience, are very sympathetic to this girl. They really want to help her. The two girls adopted Huangrong's strategy, and after a few combos, they successfully broke into the ancient tomb section. They became Xiao Longnu's junior sisters. In fact, the three are about the same age, and the gap is smaller than that between Xiao Longnu and Yang, and the two have much more experience in the martial arts world than Xiao Longnu. So Xiao Longnu did not directly accept the two girls as apprentices, but accepted apprentices on behalf of her master, and became sisters with Li Wengzhou and Shui Sheng. According to Li Wengzhou's idea, she and Shui Sheng would probably inherit the mantle of the ancient tomb sect. As for Xiao Longnu, she would definitely be pushed out to marry a man of her dreams in the future. She couldn't let her die in the ancient tomb. The most suitable man for Xiao Longnu is undoubtedly Yang. Now that both sides have their own people, it should be easy to match them up. Xiao Ming just wants Yang to suffer less, and has no intention of forcing the couple apart. If there is a chance, he will definitely match him with Xiao Longnu. However, Xiao Ming has a headache about Chen Ying, Lu Wushuan, and others. He doesn't know whether he should let them meet Guo. Once you meet Yang, you will ruin your life. This is not a casual statement. Epsilon equals Omicron asterisk, alas, let's see fate in the future. Let's get back to the topic. Li Wengzhou and Shui Sheng both have a foundation in Changshengju, and their martial arts are already good. The only difference is that their skills are still shallow. So, Xiaolongnu quickly taught the Jade Girl Heart Sutra and Jade Girl Swordsmanship to the two girls. They found an opportunity to pass it on secretly, and this swordsmanship came into Xiao Ming's hands. Xiao Ming also passed on the Quanzhen sect's martial arts skills to his two apprentices. Because the steps of practicing martial arts in the Tomb sect are, the first step is to practice various martial arts of the section, the second step is to learn the Quanzhen sect's martial arts. The third step is to practice the Jade Girl Heart Sutra that restrains the Quanzhen sect's martial arts. In the original work, in the second step, it was all thanks to Yang who had memorized the Quanzhen sect's mental formula that Long and Yang could successfully learn the Quanzhen sect's martial arts. In this life, in order to allow Xiaolongnu to continue practicing martial arts, Zhao's Haijing had to betray and pass on the Quanzhen sect's martial arts to the Tomb sect. As for the third step of the Jade Girl Heart Sutra, two people need to practice it together without clothes, and Li Wengzhou and Shui Sheng are just right. They don't need to change to the Jade Girl Heart Sutra, but relying on the Changshengju, the combined strength of the two people should be very simple to protect Xiaolongnu from the difficulties of practicing and not going astray. At present, they have not reached this step yet, and they are still practicing the martial arts of Quanzhen section. Moreover, since they already know that the Quanzhen Jade Girls' double swords are invincible, they have been practicing the art of double swords since the beginning. Everyone is proficient in two swordsmanship, and any two people can attack together. Although they cannot match Lin Xiaoying's mood in terms of emotions, they will be able to communicate with each other after becoming proficient, and they should have no problem protecting themselves. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1582. In fact, Xiao Ming had thought that he could teach Xiaolongnu left and right fighting in advance. She has the potential to learn this special ability. Unfortunately, Zhao Haijing could not teach Xiao Longnu in person, and Li Wengzhou and Shui Sheng could not learn left and right fighting, so he could not teach. He could only wait for the opportunity. During this period, Xiao Ming also did one thing, which was to take Yang to meet the heroes of Zhao Wangfu at that time, namely Lingzi Shangren, Shatongtian, Ho Tonghai, and Peng Lianhu. It is said that the four of them were captured by Zhou Batong more than 10 years ago and handed over to Qiu Chuji, Wang Chuyi and other guards. They were imprisoned in Zongnan Mountain Chongyang Palace and were asked to reform before they were released. Unexpectedly, the four people's evil nature was hard to get rid of, and they tried every means to escape. Over the years, they really escaped twice, but they were chased back. Xiao Ming knew that if he did not make any changes, they would try to escape again. During the third escape, Peng Lianhu, Ho Tonghai and Lingzi Shangren killed several Quanzhen disciples who were guarding them. The Quanzhen Taoists broke their legs and damaged the eyes of 3 people to punish them. Only Shatongtian did not kill anyone and his eyes were preserved. In the original novel, it was not until a few years later that the Mongols attacked Chongyang Palace in a large-scale manner, and these former masters were able to escape in the chaos. In order to avoid the pursuit of Quanzhen, the 4 of them sneaked into Jiangnan and lived in seclusion in a remote village, living peacefully for 16 years. Later, they met Ke Zhenyi and Yang Guo, who had grown into the Condor hero. After a confrontation, Yang Guo learned about his father Yang Kang's past. In this life, Zhao Haijing had told Guo all about Yang Kang's past, so he asked them to testify. It also made Yang Guo completely believe in Zhao Haijing. As the saying goes, a thief never leaves empty-handed. Since he had come here, Zhao Haijing would certainly do something to these 4 people. He used both the life and death talisman and the soul transfer technique. The 4 of them were no longer the heroes of more than 10 years ago, and their ambitions had almost worn out. With the combined efforts of the 2 big moves, they were quickly subdued. After Wang Chuyi, Lu Chuxuan, and Sun Bu'er returned to Zongnan Mountain, the 4 of them expressed their repentance to the 6 Quanzhen disciples in tears. With Zhao Haijing helping to speak, Ma Yu and others finally decided to give the 4 people freedom. Shatongtian and others swore that they would sneak into the territory of Mongolia and secretly kill its important figures to atone for their sins. Qiu Chuji and others felt a little incredible. Even they themselves were equally incredible, but they dared not go. Because this was the order Zhao Haijing gave them. Xiao Ming could actually arrange for them to go to Xiangyang, join the beggars' sect, and help defend the city. That would be of great use. But first of all, Huangrong is a hurdle that she can't get past. People who are extremely smart are usually suspicious. Unless Zhao Haijing shows her the power of the life and death talisman, she won't believe these old enemies. Secondly, whenever the Mongolian army attacks Xiangyang in a large scale, many masters of the Central Plains martial arts will gather in the city to help defend it. The 4 of them are not bad. Finally, although the 4 of them have been subdued by Xiao Ming, their personalities have not changed. It is against their nature to let them be obedient under Guo Zheng. If they are suppressed for a long time, they may break through the control of the soul transfer method. So Zhao Haijing still has to give the 4 people a certain degree of freedom. Send them to sneak into Mongolia to assassinate the enemy's princes and generals and disrupt the internal situation of Mongolia. Use their performance every year to exchange for the antidote. If they do well in the first few years, Zhao Haijing will consider relaxing the years in the future. Give them 3 years of antidote at a time, so that they can act freely for a longer time. At this stage, it is still given once a year. But Xiao Ming can't be so obvious that he cheats people. It is not so easy to assassinate the high-ranking figures of the Mongolian Empire. They must be warned to be careful. Let's talk about the Mongolian Prince Kublai Khan. Under his command, there are 5 masters, including the Golden Wheel Dharma King from the Vajra sect of the Mongolian esoteric Buddhism, the famous Xiangzi Xiaoxiangzi, the Tianzu Master Nimiksing, the Persian merchant Yin Kexi, and the Huijian Khan Ma Guangzuo. Apart from the rough man Ma Guangzuo, the martial arts of the others are several steps beyond Shatongtian and others. Especially the Golden Will Dharma King, his strength is comparable to the 5 great masters of the Central Plains. It is even more terrifying. Xiaoming personally faced him, and the victory and defeat were only 50-50. The heroes of the Zhao Palace are definitely not enough. The Golden Will Dharma King was named the first national teacher of Mongolia, and his status was similar to that of Kublai Khan. His help to Kublai Khan can only be regarded as a personal favor. However, the other 4 are masters hired by Kublai Khan himself at a high price. Moreover, Kublai Khan is just one of the many princes and nobles of Mongolia. I believe that there will be some good masters under the other princes. Even if they are not as strong as these people, they are not ordinary people. So Xiaoming never tires of reminding Shatongtian and others that killing is the last resort and must be cautious. First of all, it is mainly to collect intelligence, and occasionally to provoke the relationship between the Mongols. In fact, there are contradictions within the Mongols. Genghis Khan's 4 sons passed down 4 major factions. The Jockey and Tolui factions have a harmonious relationship and jointly fight against the Chagatai and Ojibwe factions. Seeing this opening and doing something frequently will surely achieve twice the result with half the effort. Shatongtian and the other 4 took the order and left. As for how far they can achieve, Xiaoming didn't know. Anyway, this is an idle chess move. It doesn't matter if it is useless. If it is useful, it will be considered a profit. These days, Zhao's Haijing takes Yanguo to various places in Zongnan Mountain every now and sometimes he even goes down the mountain to play in the town. Everyone in Quanzhen sect knows that Zhao's Haijing dotes on Yanguo, and they don't find it strange. The elders just think that Zhao's Haijing dotes on Yanguo a little too much, but he just presented Tai Chi swordsmanship and made great contributions to Quanzhen section. It is naturally difficult to stop such an insignificant thing. At the very least, Zhao's Haijing should be allowed to indulge for a while. After a few months, when he has played enough, the elders will consider persuading him. Maybe he will figure it out after playing for 2 days. Xiaoming takes Yanguo to play, firstly to lay the groundwork for a chance encounter with Mu Nianzi and Zhang Ninger in the future, secondly, he wants to take Yanguo to explore the deep pool that connects the tomb of the living dead to the outside. Find an opportunity to accidentally sneak into the ancient tomb and let Yanguo and Xiaolongnu meet. It can also be regarded as a blind date in advance. Since Zhao's Haijing and Yanguo did not break into the ancient tomb intentionally, Xiaolongnu and Grandma Sun could not be aggressive. Just apologize and leave. They could also expose the 9-yin manual that Wang Chongyang left at the bottom of the ancient tomb. After that, the members of the ancient tomb sect could practice the martial arts in the manual openly. As for the Quanzhen sect, since Wang Chongyang had made a vow that no Quanzhen disciples could practice the 9-yin manual, they could only miss it. Before Xiaoming met Tai Genren on December 7, Xiaoming was still waiting for the opportunity and had not completed these 2 things. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1583. Xiaoming's experience in the martial arts planet game from October 30 to December 7 has basically been told. Next we look at the Magic Planet game. This section is divided into 2 parts, the Secret Realm and the main game. Let's talk about the Secret Realm first. In the reincarnation world of the Harry Potter series, Xiaoming thoroughly analyzed the witch's rejuvenation potion and can make this magic potion at will in the future. But there is another good thing that has only been partially analyzed, and that is the ability of Miru M, the Chimera Ant King from the secret realm of Hunter x Hunter, eat the best food. The reason why I have been unable to analyze this ability in the reincarnation world for 8 years is not because of lack of time, but because of insufficient accumulated experience and insights. A little over the 5th year, Xiaoming's analysis of this ability hit a bottleneck. All the previous accumulation has been exhausted. If he wants to continue his analysis, Xiaoming must go to the Hunter's secret realm in person, use this ability frequently, and accumulate new experience and insights. Therefore, after returning to reality, Xiaoming will not let the Hunter's secret realm idle as long as he has nothing to do. Basically, there are people in the secret realm most of the time. Moreover, he completely ignored the main plot of the secret realm and the tasks assigned to the players by the system. He just wholeheartedly seeks out those with telekinesis abilities who deserve to die, eats them, and absorbs his abilities. It doesn't matter whether that ability is powerful or not, the key is to get the feeling of absorbing other people's thoughts. At this time, Xiaoming couldn't help but start to think wildly. If he could learn Biming divine art or star absorbing technique, it should be quite helpful for this. Unfortunately, the secret realm of Dragon Babu is the private property of the Shen family, so it would be impolite to enter by yourself. In the secret realm of swordsmen, the star-absorbing method appeared relatively late. If you go through it yourself, it is completely unnecessary and a waste of time. It's not worth it to go through so much effort just to learn how to attract stars. With that kind of effort, I might as well stay in the Hunter's secret realm and experience the power of eating delicious food. In the beginning, everything went smoothly. Because Xiaoming is the only player who can clear the Chimera Ant plot, and he has seriously modified the plot. Therefore, he is basically playing a single-player game, and other players will not be assigned to him. The characters in the plot are also sensible enough not to provoke him. But after a while, things changed. One after another, players have chosen to skip the Chimera Ant plot, even the previous Greed Island plot, and directly choose to enter Xiaoming's progress. This is the right given to players by the game. Not every player is willing to pass the level through their own efforts. When I get tired of playing, I just want to be lazy and skip levels. Especially the secret realm of full-time hunter. The telekinesis abilities are all kinds of strange, and the characters' personalities are complex and changeable, making it difficult for players to adapt to this secret realm. Not to mention clearing the story. In fact, most players are stuck in the plot in Yuxin City where the Phantom Troop appears. Very few people can pass. The remaining parts are also stuck in the Greed Island chapter or the Chimera Ant chapter. Especially in the Chimera Ant chapter, the Ant King and the 3 guards are simply incredible in strength and extremely bloodthirsty, and the players simply cannot cope with them. After being frustrated by being killed n times, a considerable number of players are unwilling to waste time trying to pass the level. Directly extract Xiaoming's progress and skip this plot. But doing so means that they need to accept the changes Xiaoming has made to the main plot. This is not a problem at all, they don't know what the original plot should be anyway. It doesn't affect their enjoyment of the game at all. Xiaoming completed the Chimera Ant chapter in Hunter's Secret Realm on October 23. A week later, players began to choose his progress. Since the progress made by Xiaoming is selected, some of them will be directly assigned to the secret realm where Xiaoming is. This is also because Xiaoming does not complete tasks at all, resulting in little progress in the plot, making it easier for the system to find opportunities to plug players in. If Xiaoming completes a few tasks but does not complete the entire plot, he will be stuck in the middle of a chapter. In that case, it would be difficult for the system to plug players in. Of course, Xiaoming doesn't care about this kind of thing. No matter whether new players enter or not, they can't disrupt his pace. He still looks for food everywhere and experiences the ability to eat delicious food. It wasn't until more than 2 weeks later, on Tuesday, November 15, that Xiaoming's character Miu Miu in the Secret Realm received an invitation from the Hunter Association. That really made him pause. It turns out that the chapter of electing a new president has also ended. Xiao Ming's paddling is not a problem. Without him, other players can complete the plot. Xiao Ming, who was in the same secret realm, naturally also passed the test. Wow! The players are so awesome that they can pass the level easily. In fact, this is still the butterfly effect caused by Xiao Ming's behavior. In the original book, this chapter has two important plots, one is to elect a new president, the other is to heal Xiaja. Because Xiaja was seriously injured when fighting against Nephibit. In the process of healing Xiaja, the protagonist team was interfered and sniped by two masters, Hisoka and Ilmi. The battle was quite fierce. In order to improve their reputation and gain votes, some candidates sent a large number of telepaths to surround and suppress Hisoka and Ilmi. As a result, they were all killed. This plot is theoretically very difficult to pass. However, in this life, Xiaja was not injured, so this plot naturally would not happen. Besides, there is also the Emperor Mewtwo. Even the Phantom Troop dare not openly carry out a massacre, let alone Hisoka and Ilmi. In short, this plot is absent, and only the election of the president is left. That is, the original vice president, Pariston Hill, one of the 12 earthly branches, and the battle of wits between the rat, Pariston Hill, and the dog, Chider Yorkshire, who is also one of the 12 earthly branches. Although they still fought very well, after all, there was no need for force. The players cooperated with each other and tried a few more times, and they still passed the level. The result of the election was that the rat won. At the same time as Pariston was elected as the president, he gave up the position of president to Chider, withdrew from the association, and also withdrew from the 12 earthly branches. With him, Xiaja's father, Pigjin Fulishi, also withdrew from the 12 earthly branches. Everyone was confused and didn't understand what the two guys at the beginning and end were doing. If they knew that President Netero was not dead, they probably wouldn't dare to do this. Shortly after the election, an emergency suddenly occurred, requiring all 12 earthly branches to be present. But what should they do now that two people are missing? There are still 10 masters left, and the first person they thought of was the president's favorite student, Mewtwo. So they sent an invitation, hoping that he could serve as the new rat or pig. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1584. The new president of the Hunter Association, Kidor Yorkshire, the dog, is too busy. He just became the president and is so busy that he can't come to invite Mew in person. So she sent trusted confidants to NGL. One of the 12 zodiac signs, Miziston Nana, and two old friends of Mew, Amolao and Nobu. Amolao and Nobu were Xiao Ming's close comrades in the decisive battle against the Chimera ants. They had fought together, so they naturally came to play the emotional card. And Miziston, the cow, was here to make sense. In fact, the 12 earthly branches are already familiar with Mew's achievements. Many people want to meet him. Whether it is his ability to draw the Phantom Troop to participate in the battle, or his own ability to show the netherworld magic, it is fascinating. Among them, several martial arts factions, Yinhukangze, Chenlongport Bei Gigant, and Chenho Zio, Zio is his name, want to try out Mew's Kung Fu. Therefore, the dog only sent Zhou Niu. As for those who like to fight, they were not allowed. They were afraid that they would have a bad temper and have a conflict with Mewtwo. Mr. Zhou Niu presented facts and reason, analyzed the problem from multiple angles and perspectives, and persuaded people to listen to him. It would be embarrassing if they didn't listen to him. President Netero is Mewtwo's master, and Mewtwo is also Netero's last disciple. Now that the master is dead, shouldn't the disciple inherit the master's will and help the association? Otherwise, where is the master? Unfortunately, he got an important premise wrong, a secret that only a few people in the world know, Netero is not dead at all. At the end of the Chimera Ant War, he was saved by Xiao Ming's non-ability death of friend, not a poor deist, and now I don't know where he is. If the association is really in crisis, it should be Netero who goes to the rescue, not Mutio. Since even the master himself doesn't care, why should the apprentice care? Of course, Xiao Ming couldn't say this directly, and the secret had to be kept, so he avoided the topic and didn't want to take up this kind of trivial matter. Seeing that the negotiations were deadlocked, Nob spoke out to help. He and MaleProtagonist both knew that President Netero was not dead, so they also knew that Zhou Niu had not persuaded them to the point. It was useless to play the card of inheriting the master's will, so Nob mentioned another thing, Dark Continent. In order to attract Mutio. This is what happened. Just 2 days ago, the king of the Kajin Empire, Nasbai Huiguoro, suddenly announced to the world in a high-profile manner. The Kajin Empire will march towards the Dark Continent in a big way, intending to obtain inexhaustible resources and inexhaustible food. Let the human world prosper again. Anyone is welcome to participate. The most important thing is that the expedition team sent by Kajin to the Dark Continent is led by Bijand Netero, the son of the former President Isaac Netero. The president was also prepared for this. He left a video before his death and told his assistant, the bean-faced man Bins. If someone who claims to be the son of the president appears in public, show this to all the 12 earthly branches. Since the rat and the pig have already withdrawn, the remaining 10 people can barely be regarded as all the 12 earthly branches, so they can watch it. However, after watching the video, the dog felt that the situation was very difficult and wanted to get more helpers to complete the 12 earthly branches. Miu Miu was naturally the first choice. The president's video was about his son Bai Yang. Both father and son were excellent hunters, pursuing their own goals, or prey. The father's goal was to be strong, the kind of strength that could be proved by a hardy fight, victory, or defeat, or even life and death. That's why he didn't hesitate to put the bomb in his body and fight hard with the Ant King Miru M. It doesn't matter if he dies, it doesn't matter if he gets what he wants. Netero had set foot in the Dark Continent twice, and he also wanted to find a powerful opponent to fight. Unfortunately, there is no personal victory or defeat in the Dark Continent, there is only a struggle with the cruel nature. This does not meet Netero's pursuit. So he never set foot in the Dark Continent again. But Bayangd, as a son, is different. What he pursues is toughness. It is the ability to survive well in any adversity. There is no doubt that this toughness is very suitable for exploring the Dark Continent. So, Bayangd rejected the advice of his father Netero and insisted on going to the Dark Continent for exploration. As a result, he paid a painful sacrifice to come here, and also brought back new disasters. In fact, due to the repeated exploration of the Dark Continent by humans, several terrible disasters were brought back. Each one is enough to destroy humans. But Bayangd still refused to give up and planned to challenge again. So Netero put a shackle on his son, and Bayangd could not go to the Dark Continent before Netero died. At the same time, going to the Dark Continent was listed as a taboo of the association. This so-called shackles are probably some unique mind abilities. However, Netero did die in the battle against the Chimera Ants. Although he was resurrected by Xiao Ming's ability immediately after his death, he did die once after all. Therefore, Bai Yang's shackles were also removed. He immediately announced in a high-profile manner that he was ready to set out to explore the Dark Continent. He was quite persistent. Since the matter is rather strange, several of Netero's confidants think that the Chimera Ants are probably a trick created by Bayangd and his accomplices. The purpose is to kill the president. This is not nonsense, because the traces of artificial transformation on the Chimera Ant Queen are very obvious. This kind of transformation must be possible only by a country as strong as Kajin. Moreover, when facing the powerful Chimera Ant army, the Hunter Association could not send enough masters to accompany the president to fight against the Chimera ants, which is very suspicious. At that time, only Nob and Molawa were dispatched, and the 12 earthly branches and other masters did not help. It is really impossible not to be suspicious. These masters are temporarily trapped somewhere in the world because of various things. This is a very clever trick. If it weren't for Mutio, the president's crusade would probably fail. Sugo suspects that there is probably the shadow of Rat behind this. Unfortunately, there is no evidence. Back to the point, Netero believes that as a hunter, Byangd is more serious than himself. Therefore, he issued an A-level mission to the 12 earthly branches, hoping that they can complete the expedition to the Dark Continent before Byangd. The conditions for achieving this are, solve a certain disaster from the Dark Continent and bring back hope. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1585. Why did President Netero use himself as a shackle to forbid his son Byangd to explore the Dark Continent? What is the so-called disaster brought back from the Dark Continent? Xiaoming actually heard some gossip about the Dark Continent, but it was just hearsay, and he knew very little about the truth. After all, this is a taboo, and most people are reluctant to mention it. And Mutio is so young, and his curiosity must be strong. Netero is worried that he will be attracted to the Dark Continent and go to explore, so he keeps it a secret from him. Now, Byangd and the Kajin Empire have made this matter known to the world, and there is no need to continue to hide it from Mutio. Moreover, after a series of political games, the original highest authority in the world of Hunter x Hunter v5, which is an organization jointly established by the 5 major powers. They chose to compromise and absorb the Kajin Empire to form V6. The other 5 countries will support the Kajin Empire's exploration of the Dark Continent behind the scenes. And give the highest courtesy to the king of the Kajin Empire, Nasbai Wigwaro. His name will be recorded in history as a pioneer of the New World. In exchange, the Kakan Empire must share the things it gets from exploring the Dark Continent with the 5 countries. The original V5 was equivalent to making a profit without any effort. These political struggles also had an impact on the Hunter Association. The 12 earthly branches had accepted Netero's commission and had to go to the Dark Continent. The top leaders of V6 gave the association an additional task. The 12 earthly branches were required to restrict Byangd's freedom and strictly monitor him. He was prohibited from rebelling against the association midway. After reaching the Dark Continent, all the benefits he obtained from his actions would belong to V6. And it was prohibited to disclose this information to any media. If Byangd could not be controlled, the Hunter Association would not have a good time with the big countries. This was not a good job, but hunters would not be afraid of danger or avoid challenges. What's more, the 12 earthly branches stood at the top of the Hunter Association. They actually had no choice but to face the challenge. If they were the kind of people who would retreat, they would not be able to reach the current height. Sugo and others accepted the challenge, and at the same time felt that their combat effectiveness was not enough, so they decided to expand their manpower. So he came to Miu as soon as possible. After the battle with the Chimera ants, Miu was famous all over the world. It would be very helpful for the association to get such a person to join. At this time, the Dark Continent was a good bait. In fact, from Nob's point of view, Miu's strength was even higher than that of President Netero, and the Dark Continent should be just a small challenge for him. Therefore, he told Miu all the information about the Dark Continent from the association without any burden. In Hunter x Hunter, the human world seems to be very large. But in fact, it is just a small archipelago located in the center of the Dark Continent, in the center of the huge Lake Mobius. The area is far less than 1/10 of Lake Mobius. As for how big the outside world outside Lake Mobius is, humans don't know. According to statistics from relevant government departments, Looking at the confirmed records alone, humans have crossed to the outside world 149 times in the past. After verification, there were only 5 times when survivors returned to the human world from the outside world, a total of 28 survivors. Among them, only Netero and Bejand are still alive, and only Bejand is recorded in the government. All 5 voyages were assisted by the guide. But each time they returned in defeat with a disaster that could destroy humanity. As a result, the human world has 5 major disasters: the mist-like creature that depends on desire, the plant weapon gold and silver ingot that is a sphere whose true identity is unknown and guards the mysterious ancient ruins, the equal exchange of happiness and life, the human cultivating beast Papu, the monster that can infect murderous aura, the two-tailed snake Hell Bell, the immortal disease Sabbath that deceives hope and makes people fall into endless despair. The danger level of any of these 5 disasters exceeds that of the Chimera ant. It is at the highest level A, or the quasi-highest level B+. The danger level of the Chimera ant is only B. Gon's father, Jin Fulashi, believes that rather than saying that humans brought these 5 disasters back, it is better to say that the guide allowed humans to bring them back for punishment. Humans can still deal with the Chimera ants, but facing the 5 disasters, humans currently have no definite countermeasures. Before they spread, block them and keep a distance. This is the best way to deal with it at this stage. Speaking of which, it is just a coincidence that humans have not yet become extinct. Now, Bai Yang is going to the Dark Continent again, and there is a great possibility that he will bring back the 6th disaster. It may be the end of the world. Of course, huge risks also come with huge rewards. The Dark Continent also has very useful things for humans. Unmanned stone, once it sinks into the water, it will generate electricity. This bead-sized stone can generate 20,000 kilowatts of electricity every day. New energy. Unmanned stone can be mined on the steep mountains along the northeast coast of Lake Mobius, but that is the territory of the human-raising beast Papu. The United Nations sent a 1,000-person investigation team there in Berg Rose, and only 7 people came back alive. Vanilla, which can cure all diseases, is located in an ancient ruins just north of the lake. The special forces of the Suharto Republic were completely defeated by the plant weapons here, with only 2 survivors. Longevity food Nitolami grows in a large swamp southeast of the lake. 99% of the investigation team organized by the Okima Federation was destroyed by the two-tailed snake Hell Bell, and 11 people escaped. Sanyuan water can be the original liquid of all liquids. The Mingbo Republic went to search with the help of the Hunter Association, but only 3 people came back alive. The people who went seemed to have had a dispute over the mist-like creature and all of them were mentally ill. Alchemical plant Metalion is the target of the ancient Ganya kingdom. Probably because Bai Yang participated in this operation. They successfully retrieved the plant. But they were attacked by a terrible strange disease. The survivors included the hunter who was infected with Zorba disease, a total of 6 people. After returning, the plant also died. The 28 survivors are all genius-level figures, the darlings of fate. But after various examinations, only 3 people were able to return to normal life. And in these 149 expeditions, a total of 7,500 people set foot on the land of the Dark Continent. The survival rate is simply terrible. These experiences, which should have been warnings, instead aroused the curiosity of hunters in the association and added a lot of victims. After Bayang's adventure, Netero made up his mind to persuade V5 to list the Dark Continent as a taboo. Once Netero died, this taboo was actually opened. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1586. After listening to Nob's description, Xiaoming found a question a little vague, so he asked. Everyone, my senior brother Bai Yang wants to explore the Dark Continent, which is understandable. It is also reasonable to unite with the kingdom of Kaken. But there is a strange question. Hearing this, Joniu Mizeiston Nana said, do you think it is ridiculous that the Kaken Empire wants to take a large number of people? Seeing Mu Mu nodded, Joniu explained, these ordinary people will not go to the Dark Continent. There are many islands near the border sea boundary that can accommodate a large number of immigrants. We define it as the imaginary New World. Those ordinary people will immigrate to these islands to live. Those who really go to the Dark Continent are those masters. So that's it, Xiao Ming murmured, that's right. In the eyes of the ruling class, although the lives of ordinary people are worthless, they are also a kind of property and cannot be easily sent to death. He can never get rid of his identity as the king of hell. Therefore, he has always attached great importance to the news that a large number of people may die. Seeing that several major countries have been prepared, he was relieved. As for the exploration of the Dark Continent, Xiao Ming basically agrees. However, he thinks that those who are willing to explore can go on their own, but it is best not to come back. They can not care about their own lives for their dreams, but they should not bring disasters back to the human world. Not caring about the lives of others is very irresponsible. But then again, the current state of mankind is very much like being kept. If V5 had not explored the Dark Continent several times, those disasters did not seem to have any intention of invading. Xiao Ming guessed that the human world was probably protected to a certain extent. The scope of this protection is likely to be the entire Lake Mobius. In other words, the human world is like a greed island game that is countless times larger in scale, isolated by some powerful existence. Ordinary humans cannot board Greed Island without permission. Those monsters and disasters in the Dark Continent cannot invade the human world without permission. Otherwise, those so-called disasters have no autonomous consciousness. If they reproduce and develop normally, they should have entered the human world long ago. The fact that no one has entered without permission seems to indicate the real existence of this protection. In addition, there is another piece of evidence for this conjecture, which is the two guys who look like NPCs, the gatekeeper and the guide. In the human understanding, the gatekeeper is the only monster tribe that controls the way to the Dark Continent. Humans must negotiate with them if they want to go to the Dark Continent. After the gatekeeper agrees, he will summon some subhuman races to serve as guides to guide humans in and out of the Dark Continent. Exploration without the gatekeeper's consent is always a one-way trip. Obviously there is something fishy here. Think about it, Lake Mobius is such a huge lake, and the border and sea boundary are extremely long. How can there be extremely powerful traps everywhere along the coast, which makes people go there without return? It can only make sense if the whole world is protected and supervised by some kind of telekinesis or other magical abilities. Maybe, just like the situation in Yu Yu Hakusho, early humans already lived on the Dark Continent, lived with monsters, and were at the bottom of the food chain. Later, several powerful people appeared among the ancestors of mankind, using their powerful telepathic abilities to turn the entire Lake Mobius into a private reserve for mankind. The gatekeepers were just game managers set up by the ancestors of mankind, or they were pets left behind, responsible for guarding the hard work of their masters. Of course, it can also be guessed to be darker. This may not have been done by the ancestors of mankind, but by some non-human highly intelligent creatures. The reason is unknown. Maybe they think humans are more fun, maybe they think humans are more delicious. In short, they set aside such an area to feed humans. Of course, this possibility is not great. It seems that the initiators' attitude towards humans is still quite friendly. For example, they have been allowing humans to develop normally in Lake Mobius. Allowing the 5 disasters to be brought back by human explorers is also for the leaders to teach humans a lesson. Remind humans not to run out at will, it is too dangerous outside. This gives people a feeling that because there is a big bad wolf outside, the mother rabbit locks the little rabbit at home and does not let it go out. This speculation made Xiaoming have a strong interest in the Dark Continent. Since there is this opportunity, why not give it a try? With his own ability, he might be able to bring back hope to solve some disaster. Even if he can't bring anything back, he won't lose anything. After all, this is just a game, and even if he dies, it won't have any impact at all, just sprinkle some water. Okay. Such an interesting thing, of course I have to participate. When do we set sail? Mutioyu asked excitedly. Wait, not so urgent. Joniu quickly raised his hands to signal Mutioyu to be patient, and at the same time, he looked at Nyabu and Emolao, and the three of them looked a little strange. However, they did not explain, but Joniu told Mutioyu the next plan. Little did they know that Xiaoming had a plug-in, and he could feel other people's true thoughts. It turned out that there was another question in the previous words. That is, since V5's several exploration operations failed, how did they know about these good things such as No Man's Stone and Vanilla? V5's actions were obviously going straight to the goal. Mutioyu didn't find this problem, which made the three people think that Mutioyu's intelligence was just average. It seems that he can only be used as combat power. This evaluation is relatively accurate. Xiaoming's intelligence is indeed ordinary, and he didn't think about this aspect at all. However, he had a plug-in and soon read the answer from the three people's hearts. The answer is a book, or it can be said to be a person. About 300 years ago, there was a man who was quite successful in exploring the Dark Continent. It is said that the guy wrote his experience into 2 books. They are East and West of New World Chronicle. At present, V5 and the Hunter Association have only found East. Those treasures are recorded in this book. Therefore, they are all distributed on the eastern half of Lake Mobius. As for West, it has not been discovered yet. It may be that it was simply not passed down, or that person had an accident, which led to the failure of the book to be completed. Of course, there is a last possibility, that is, the author is still continuing to write this book. This author, who may have lived for more than 300 years, is named Dongfu Lishi. As expected, the Fulai family are all monsters. This person must be Jin and Xiaoji's great-great-great-great-grandfather. How terrifying must a being who has wandered in the Dark Continent for 300 years be? Maybe the Ant King Miru M is no different from an ordinary ant in front of him. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1587. The specific itinerary of this voyage will be roughly divided into 3 stages. The first stage is preparation, the second stage is to sail from the human world to the imaginary new world, and then the third stage is to continue sailing from the imaginary new world to the Dark Continent for real exploration. Xiaoming felt from Zhou Niu's mind that the main competitors of this expedition are Bai Yang and his companions, including the original rat Pariston Hill, who has an IQ that is off the charts and a little crazy. Therefore, the 12 earthly branches need someone with a good enough mind to join. Or such a powerful staff officer would be fine. Originally, Mutioyu showed strong combat effectiveness and a big picture of preparing for a rainy day in the battle against the Chimera ant. Sugo Joniu and others had high expectations for him. As a result, it is better to meet in person than to hear about it. Now it seems that his intelligence is not very outstanding. I don't know why Mutioyu can perform so well in the battle against the Chimera ant. Why? Of course, it is because Xiaoming had already experienced a battle against the Chimera ant in the reincarnation world, and he knew the opponent's strength very well. That's why he was able to prepare for the rainy day in the secret realm of Hunter x Hunter and do a very thorough preparation. Now without this foresight, he immediately became like everyone else. Nob and the others now believe that there must be one or even several senior staff behind Mewtwo. Of course, Mewtwo's fighting power is still worth looking forward to, but in terms of fighting wits, the 12 earthly branches still lack talents. In the last round of elections for the new president, the dog was almost completely defeated by the rat, and was led by the nose step by step. After playing enough, Pariston announced that the position of president would be passed to Chider, and warned her, "This time it's just a casual play, if Chider doesn't do well, next time it's real." Most of the 12 earthly branches are very worried about this. Recruiting an outstanding staff is imperative. So Xiaoming suggested, "Mr. Zhou Niu, I can be the new pig. As for the rat, if you don't have a backup, I have a candidate who is very suitable." Meisisten Nana immediately became energetic after hearing this. It is expected that Mewtwo is probably going to push his staff to the front. As expected, Xiaoming recommended a person he thought was quite resourceful, Kurapika. Kurapika was only a little famous in the Hunter Association, and the 12 earthly branches did not include him in the recruitment list at the beginning. In fact, Kurapika had done a lot of things. Under his operation, the Nisra family flourished, and he became the second person in the family. In fact, although he did not usurp the throne, the family boss Light Nisra also obeyed him. It was no different from a real boss. Such achievements should have been valued by the Hunter Association long ago. However, Kurapika knew the principle of making a fortune in silence, and he had always been deliberately low-key, so his reputation was not prominent. During the Chimera Ant War, Xiaoming transformed him into a member of the insect human, causing his strength to soar quite sharply. After the battle against the Chimera Ant, he returned to the Nisra family. Xiaoming didn't know how he was doing now. Since the association needed a senior staff officer, Kurapika was the perfect fit. I just hope that his image of a bug human won't make the 12 earthly branches stay away from him. Of course, Mewtwo was only responsible for introducing him. The 12 earthly branches must study carefully whether to invite him to serve as the rat. Zhou Niu immediately called the new president. Sugo Chider Yorkshire is very efficient. A few days later, when Xiaoming returned to the Hunter Association headquarters with Zhou Niu, Nobu, and Mo Lao, Kurapika was waiting for him here as the new rat. Seeing Kurapika completely human, Xiaoming was also shocked. Take a closer look, no matter how you scan his body, there is no difference from humans. Only the mental connection that still exists tells Xiaoming that he has not withdrawn from the ranks of bug humans. After a mental communication between the two, Xiaoming finally figured out the truth. This is Kurapika's newly acquired Nin ability, I want to be a human. Every time he uses this ability, he can turn back to a normal person for 24 hours. And the CD time of this ability is also 24 hours. In other words, as long as he uses enough telekinesis, he can always maintain his human form. He won't reveal his insect human form. Speaking of which, the combat power of the insect human form is obviously much stronger than that of the human form. Why did Kurapika cultivate such an ability? The answer is for the pregnancy stone. This thing is a reward given to Xiaoming by the system after he cleared the Chimera Ant chapter. Xiaoming can copy the stone, so he gave 2 copies to Kurapika. The characteristics of the pregnancy stone are that it can make anyone pregnant, regardless of gender. And it can also determine the gender of the child born. Kurapika is the only one left in the Kuruta tribe where he came from, and he thought that he would be completely exterminated. With the pregnancy stone, there is new hope for the continuation of the race. Therefore, he will work hard to cultivate the ability of I want to be a human. He wants to give birth to a new tribe. At present, he is not pregnant. He will not really start laying off cubs until the ability of I want to be a human is completely perfected. Because he wanted to give birth to a new race, Kurapika paid great attention to his own health and specially invited his good friend Leorio to his home. Let him learn all the medical knowledge about childbirth and raising children, and ask him to be his personal doctor for a while. Once Kurapika starts giving birth in the future, it is likely that he will give birth continuously, and he will not stop until he gives birth to dozens of children. Now, the matter of reproducing the race was suddenly interrupted by the matter of marching into the Dark Continent, so he took the opportunity to bring Leorio to the association headquarters and let him participate in the expedition. After all, there is no such thing as too many doctors in the expedition team. In the original work, it was indeed Kurapika who served as the new rat, but the new pig was served by Leorio. In the new president election chapter, Leorio should have gained very high popularity and once became a hot candidate for the new president. Because his fame helped to unite the Hunter Association, the 12 earthly branches first invited Leorio, and then Leorio recommended Kurapika to the association. In this life, Leorio's limelight was almost completely robbed by Mew Mew. He did not get the title of one of the 12 earthly branches. But at least he was able to participate in this drama. After that, Mewtwo didn't care about the battle of wits between the association and the Byang gang. It was not his area of expertise. But there was another thing that Xiaoming had to help with, and only Xiaoming could do it, because he had to deal with the prince of a country. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1588. Kelidunish Wiguoro, the fourth prince of Kaken, is a man of great intelligence, rich knowledge, and very elegant manners, Shenjingbing. He likes to collect human organs that can be regarded as works of art, and he will also make human organs into artworks that he thinks and then collect them. He is simply a big pervert. The fate of those whose organs are taken away can be imagined. And the flaming red eyes of the Kurta tribe are one of the targets of the fourth prince. Maybe the Phantom Troop accepted the commission of Kelidunish and slaughtered all 128 people of the Kurta tribe. Today, Kurapika has taken back the eyes of all the tribe members he could track down. In the meantime, he naturally used various means. Violent threats, lies and deceptions, money transactions. He didn't even kill a person, but he took back the flaming red eyes. The only eyes that were not taken back were those collected by the fourth prince. This news was hidden very well. Before that, Kurapika didn't even find out about the fourth prince. This was the news that the 12 earthly branches accidentally got when they were doing background checks on the key figures of the Dark Continent trip. It was with this news that they were able to get Kurapika on board without the permission of Mewtwo. As the prince of a top country in the world, Kelidonic is wealthy and powerful, and has a respected status. With Kurapika's ability, it is impossible for him to simply take back these eyes. So in the original work, Kurapika sneaked into the guards of the princes of the Kaken kingdom, intending to act according to the circumstances and deal with the fourth prince. In this life, he didn't have to go through so much trouble, and directly told Mewtwo about this matter through mental communication. As a bug human, if you have trouble, find the Bug King. This is the best choice. It just so happened that Xiaoming had 3-7 Shadow Clone, wandering around the Kaken Empire, looking for non-users who could be eaten. Since his subordinates had such a small request, Xiaoming naturally commanded the clones to go find the fourth prince. The difficulty of this matter is not high. Many people know where Kelidonic is. He lives in a large suite on the top floor of the hotel he opened. When Xiaoming's clone arrived, he happened to see this guy arranging his men to tattoo the young woman's back and peel off the tattooed skin for collection. It's really a perverted hobby. It's more disgusting than Zerg, Alien, and even Chimera Ant. That scene stimulated Xiaoming, who is well informed. The final result is also very comfortable. Kelidonic and several of his men who helped the tiger were eaten by Xiaoming. In fact, these guys are not worthy of being swallowed by Xiaoming. Kelidonic doesn't even have the ability of Nen. The reason for eating them is that the prince of a country cannot disappear suddenly for no reason. Especially at the critical moment when the Kajin Empire is about to start its journey to the Dark Continent. Once the fourth prince dies, it will definitely set off a huge wave. Apart from anything else, Since the Kajin Empire has joined V5, they can order the Hunter Association to send people to track down the murderer. Although the experts of the association are unlikely to find out that it was Mew Mew who did it, it is also troublesome to put the crime of incompetence on the association. Therefore, Xiaoming must temporarily send his clone to replace the fourth prince for a while. Later, he will find an opportunity to exit in a suitable way, such as accidentally being hit by a car. Considering that the Kajin Empire may have the ability to verify the authenticity of the prince, it may not be safe to use the ability of transformation casually. Therefore, only after eating it can you fully analyze the other party's body and understand the other party's past, so that you can pretend to be perfect. In addition, the Kajin Empire is obviously making trouble now. It is also good to be able to get into it to see the situation. So, Xiaoming swallowed the bodies of Chelidonish and several of his men, suppressing his nausea. He obtained their DNA and memories. MD, Xiaoming almost vomited because of nausea. What these people have done is simply outrageous to both humans and gods. Chelidonish may not have killed as many people as the Phantom Troop, but his methods are more cruel than the Phantom Troop. It's probably similar to what the brigade did when they slaughtered the Kuruta tribe. However, the brigade's killing method was very straightforward. That time, the Kuruta tribe was slaughtered because of the request of the fourth prince. But this fourth prince and his men have been doing similar things. They even call it for art. Deep well ice. Killing them, Xiaoming has no burden at all. But pretending to be them for a while still makes Xiaoming feel uncomfortable. Just bear it. Of course, replacing Caledonic is not without benefits. After all, the fourth prince is rich and powerful, and has an alliance with the Mafia AIE family. He can do a lot of things with his financial resources and power. First, it can speed up Xiaoming's collection of non-users who deserve to die. Xiaoming will be the final check, and he will definitely not kill innocent people. Second, Xiaoming can use the resources of the fourth prince in a better place. Isn't it nice to use them to benefit those poor people? But this matter can't be rushed, it must be done slowly, and the scale must be well grasped. The sudden change was too big, and it might arouse the suspicion of the royal family of the Kajin Empire. Xiaoming couldn't control the rhythm, so he simply pushed everything to the rich man Batra. He was the one who spent a lot of money to get the prize for passing the Greed Island. In the Greed Island chapter, Mutioyu saved his girlfriend, so Batra had given all his assets to Mutioyu. Transformed into a huge charity. Afterwards, Bartra and his girlfriend were hired by Mew to operate these assets. Now, they have spent more than half of Bartra's huge wealth. It has benefited millions of people. Now that there is not enough money, some large-scale charity projects dare not be launched at all. The influx of the fourth prince's assets is like a timely help. While Bartra was happy, he also learned about Mew's specific requirements. That is, he wanted to do charity and prevent the Kaken Empire from suspecting him. Mew couldn't grasp this delicate scale, but Bartra could. For him, this kind of thing was a piece of cake. In addition, Xiaoming unexpectedly completed a task issued by the game system to the player: infiltrate the guard team of any prince of the Kaken Empire. In fact, Xiaoming no longer cared about the system's tasks, and only focused on what he wanted to do. Completing this task was really just a byproduct. His real purpose was to return all the red eyes collected by the four princes and the body organs of the Kuruta tribe to Kurapika. When Kurapika got these things back from Guangmingding, Xiaoming could clearly feel that some kind of shackles on him seemed to be opened. After years of obsession, Kurapika's mental power increased at a speed visible to the naked eye. It even reached a level that was almost on par with President Netero. It seemed that all the deceased tribesmen placed their hopes on him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1589. Initially, when Kurapika was still a human, his combat power peaked at around B level, which was similar to the combat members of the Phantom Troop. After becoming a bug human, his physical fitness has been greatly improved. Although he is still not on par with the 3 guards of the Chimera Ant King, he is already far superior to those division commanders. Now, after achieving his obsession, Kurapika's strength has soared again, and he has obviously caught up with the level of the 3 guards, a true A-level master. He has few rivals among humans. It's a pity that he is just a game character and can't be brought to the real world. I don't know if there is a follower setting in the Magic Planet. Of course, Kurapika will use the pregnancy stone next to reproduce a race, so I'm afraid he won't have much free time. As a player, Xiaoming also received the next task, which is board BW and move towards the Dark Continent. It is another task that will definitely be completed easily. He just needs to wait for that plot to come. However, the arrival of the plot does not depend on Xiaoming, or even on the game system. It depends on when the players in the same secret realm complete the task or give up completely. As long as there is a player still within the system rules, doing the previous task of infiltrating a prince's guard team, the next plot will not start. All players have to wait for him. In this regard, Mutio said that it doesn't matter, anyway, it's the same if he eats bad people there. The living environment of the 4th prince is still quite comfortable. Not a loss. As for the perverted collections of the 4th prince, except for the things from the Kuruta tribe that have been returned to Kurapika, Xiaoming cremated all the other things. Presumably someone will point out that if those things are destroyed, Mutio is not afraid of arousing suspicion and exposing his identity. Of course not, because before destroying those things, he has made replicas to replace the originals. On the surface, there is no difference, so naturally it will not arouse suspicion. Xiaoming's main business at this stage is to continue to master the ability of eating everything is delicious. Let's wait and see what happens in the Dark Continent. If he was the only player in the whole secret realm, there would be nothing to say. He could completely push the plot forward with his strength. But now there are many players in the same secret realm. If the game system wants to push the plot forward, it must accommodate them. It can't be fast at all. Of course, Xiaoming can force the progress to be accelerated and clear all the players out by himself, so there is no need to accommodate them. However, that is a bit of an overreaction. Why is it necessary? Who did the players offend? Besides, he was not in a hurry and could wait. So, Xiaoming ate while patiently waiting for the plot to advance. Unexpectedly, it was not until December 7 that Xiaoming was fished out by the prehistoric forces, and the BW had just set sail. Epsilon equals Omicron asterisk, alas, these contemporary players are really a bit of a loser. It took more than a month to complete the task, which made people wait. However, Xiaoming gained a lot during this period. One is that with the help of the huge power of Kajin, he ate a lot of good things. According to previous experience, these insights are enough for Xiaoming to experience for 3 to 5 years. It doesn't matter if he doesn't eat during this period. Considering the suitable food, it is actually limited. After all, there won't be too many people who deserve to die and still have the ability of mind. It's important to swallow it quickly when you meet it. Save it first, maybe someday, you will enter a reincarnation world and live for several years. It's better to be prepared. Another more important gain is also related to Kajin. Mutio participated in the succession war of the throne of Kajin as Chelidanish. The first step of the succession war is to hold the egg in the pot ceremony passed down from generation to generation in the Kajin royal family. An official sent by King Nasbai Huiguoro brought a strange-looking pot to Chelidanish. This pot is almost spherical, with an opening on the top and a hole on the side. At the same time, there is a human face pattern on the side, and the opening is the mouth of that human face. The ceremony requires the prince to drip a drop of blood into the pot from the upper opening, and then put his hand into the opening on the side. A beast of 10 centimeters will appear at the mouth of the pot, which looks like a little girl wearing hanfu. She will reappear holding the prince's drop of blood, but the blood will be wrapped in something. The little girl feeds the drop of blood back into the prince's mouth, and the ceremony is completed. Since ancient times, the royal family of Kajin believed that dripping blood into the pot to prove their identity as royal heirs, and after silently reciting the intention to inherit the throne in their hearts, they can gain some special abilities. According to the records in ancient books, the first generation of Kajin king was inspired by the poison and materialized this pot. It became an ancestral treasure of the empire. The tradition of the Kajin Empire's throne succession war is to hold the pot egg ceremony for all princes one by one. The princes have no idea that they can borrow the power of the pot. Without knowing anything, they cultivate a guardian spirit beast that will protect them. Guardian spirit beasts are created by the powerful will left by people who wish for the prosperity of the tribe. They will live in people who are related to the deceased and use the host's mind power as food. Their form and abilities are also determined by the host. But he was not created by the host himself, so he will not act according to the host's will. After the ceremony begins, all princes can do whatever they want to deal with other princes, and the last one who survives will become the official heir to the throne of the Kajin Empire. I believe that by then, his guardian beast will also absorb the power of the guardian beasts of all losers and become extremely powerful. A powerful new king, coupled with a powerful guardian beast, is simply a dream combination. It is almost certain that the new king can lead the Kajin kingdom to a better future. However, this method is too cruel. It is indeed raising a coup, forcing all the princes to kill each other. Among them, there are certainly adult princes who are ambitious for the throne. Even if they die for the battle for the throne, they can be regarded as dying for what they deserve. But there are also those princes who have no ambition for the throne and are still children. For example, the 14th Prince Walb is too young and can't talk or walk yet. Even such babies are forced to participate in the battle for the throne and killed by their brothers. This kind of thing is too inhumane. In addition, the 10th to 13th princes were all young teenagers, and forcing them to kill each other was even more cruel. Xiaoming also tried to ask what would happen if he did not participate in the succession war. The official replied that every prince must participate in the war, otherwise he would die. Xiaoming had no choice but to choose to participate. Even if he faked his death and escaped, he could not help those little princes, so it was better for him to participate. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1590. When the egg in the pot ceremony was carried out to the fourth prince, things took a magical turn. Although Caledonic was pretending to be a piece of wood, the pot did not detect it. Because he copied the other party's DNA, he naturally conformed to the identity of the royal family of the Kajin Empire. However, the soul inside the body belongs to classmate Xiaoming. Xiaoming controlled too many territories and races. Quafu's underworld belongs to the underworld and cannot be counted. However, Xiaoming controls a small plane of the demon world and a big sword plane in the private world Yu Hakusho. These territories, people, and subordinates are all included in the pot. It even includes Xiaoming's forces in various secret realms in the two major games. Xiaoming estimates that forces from different sources will definitely not use the same algorithm. The proportions of the real world and the secret realm of the game are definitely different. Some are bigger, some are smaller. Unfortunately, pot will not tell Xiaoming the specific calculation formula. It may not even know it itself, it's just a vague estimate. The Great Sword Plane has just been conquered and has been ravaged by demons for a long time. The population is actually not large, and the impact is not very big. However, the plane jointly occupied by the three tribes of humans, gods, and insects in the demon world is different. The area is much larger than that of the Khajan Empire. Although the human residents inside are still very limited, there are quite a lot of monster residents. These common people are also recognized by Pot. Not to mention the large number of experts under Xiaoming, who have a greater role in promoting the assessment of national strength. Furthermore, this is a force from the real world, so it should be more calculating than the forces in the game, right? Who used its relatively rigid program to weigh it a little and decisively chose the side of the fourth prince played by Miu Miu. According to Xiaoming's personal situation, a very weird guardian spirit beast, Gate, was given to him. This is actually a magical spiritual beast, but it has not yet demonstrated its strength. Then there is no more. The egg in the pot ritual is such a trap. It will provide the host with a guardian spirit beast, but it will not provide instructions. The host needs to discover the usefulness of spirit beasts themselves. Xiaoming played with the door-shaped spirit beast for 2 days, but failed to discover its true function. On December 7, he was captured by Rainbow Bridge. Of course, in addition to the Hunter secret realm, Xiaoming also randomly visited several other secret realms with different partners. Unfortunately, there is nothing good to say about them, and there is no need to talk about them in particular. Let's focus on the main game of Magic Planet. After more than a month, the main game finally entered a new stage, the level 4 player stage. The main game of Magic Planet draws on the characteristics of online games, and it is definitely getting slower and slower to upgrade. For a mainstream professional player, it usually takes 1 to 2 days to upgrade from level 0 to level 1, it takes about 7-10 days to upgrade from level 1 to level 2, it takes 4-6 weeks to upgrade from level 2 to level 3, and it takes about 4-6 weeks to upgrade from level 3 to level 3. At level 4, 1/4 is probably enough. The advancement time for top players will be shortened due to the help they can get from other players. However, the higher the level, the harder it is to shorten the time. There are too many variables. The Magic Planet game was launched from June 6 to December 7, exactly half a year has passed. In fact, mainstream players should have entered level 4 as early as mid-October. The reason why the time was delayed for several months, and it was not until mid to late November that we entered level 4, was all due to internal friction among players. When the game just started, the time from level 0 to level 3 was relatively short. Mainstream players were all trying their best to upgrade and were too lazy to fight with other players. Moreover, there is no point in fighting each other at this time. It is difficult to stop the opponents, and it will also delay your own progress. So don't bother too much. But after reaching level 3, it is impossible for players to continue to coexist peacefully for a few months. Everyone has already had enough of it, so they waited until level 3 to have a big fight with their opponents. Therefore, during the period after level 3, the main game has been relatively chaotic. Players are busy forming guilds, competing with each other, and fighting fiercely. Sometimes, many players fight purely for the sake of fighting. As a result, many players in the early stage were stuck at level 3 and level 0 for a long time because they died too many times. After fighting each other for a long time, everyone realized that they couldn't continue fighting. Otherwise, no one will have a good time. The major guilds discussed it and basically called a truce. At the same time, they also united and called on the individual players not to fight. It's not too late to fight again after everyone reaches level 4. As a result, the war in the main game gradually subsided, and mainstream professional players and guilds began to go all out to upgrade. Among Xiaoming's 4 characters, the one who was first promoted to level 4 was the deceased. Because on the adventure map, he is waging a war with Bai Yulan, the Lord of Ashbone City. Bai Yulan and the City of Ashes where the deceased is located are located in the desert of northern Africa. Not far to the north of Ashbone City, there is a port city on the Mediterranean coast, Gabes. It is currently owned by African indigenous people, and Bayulan plans to occupy it to gain more space for development. In mid-October, Bayulan continuously released the first 3 links of the task chain, the road to the sea from the City of Ashes to the informants. They are the first link, preparation before the war, the second link, tranquility in the rear, and the third link, detection of the enemy city. The accuser completed these 3 tasks with almost the best results, and his level rose by 15 levels in total. After that, he has been waiting for the war to officially begin. On November 3, it was probably a certain player or player guild that completed the last step of the war preparation task. Bayulan officially sent troops to advance towards Grey Bone City. The accuser was the one who made the highest contribution among all the players, and naturally got the opportunity to participate in the war. Bayulan issued him the 4th ring task. Spying on military intelligence, Purple Master level task. Deadline 7 days. Players need to lead the troops to set off in advance, investigate the reaction of Gabe City, and report the enemy's actions to the city lord. Note, players can lead their own private troops to fight, or apply to the city lord to lead part of the regular army of Grey Bone City to fight, but it will affect the completion of the task. Knowing yourself and the enemy will ensure victory in 100 battles. Intelligence is definitely very important for large-scale military operations. Even the Undead Legion is no exception. This is equivalent to using the accuser as a scout. This task is not worth it for players. If you take your subordinates out as scouts, you will most likely engage in battle with the enemy forces of Gabe City. With the general strength of a level 3 player, if you go against the regular army of the system city, even if you can barely win, the losses will be very heavy. It's not worth the loss. If you don't want to give up your own troops, you can also apply to take the troops of Grey Bone City to fight. But the evaluation of the mission will inevitably be lowered. It's also a loss. It's difficult for ordinary players to find the balance point.